Naoya Inoue, known worldwide as the Monster, has built a reputation not only as one of the most devastating fighters of his generation, but also as a man who commands respect inside and outside of the ring. His rise to superstardom has been accompanied by a trail of opponents who underestimated him, disrespected him, or mocked his Japanese background, only to be humbled when they faced the full force of his fists. Time after time, Inoue has proven that arrogance, trash talk, and bravado are no match for precision, timing, and brutal power. His journey is a long story of lessons delivered to those who doubted him, with each fight becoming another chapter in a career that has captured the imagination of boxing fans across the globe. When Naoya Inoue first began to step onto the international stage, many critics in the West dismissed him as just another fighter from Japan. They believed his reputation was inflated by hype from local fans, suggesting that he had not truly been tested against elite international opponents. That perception changed rapidly when Inoue made his American television debut against Anthony Nieves, a Cleveland native who carried himself with the pride of fighting at home. Nieves spoke confidently in the build-up, calling Inoue overrated and questioning whether the Japanese fighter could survive under the bright lights of an American arena. To him, Inoue was a fighter protected by the comfort of competing in Japan, and he openly wondered whether this so-called monster had the qualities to dominate on foreign soil. But as soon as the opening bell rang, Nieves realized what he was up against. Inoue came forward like a predator stalking his prey, immediately establishing a piercing jab that reminded commentators of the best from Gennady Golovkin. His footwork was crisp, his timing impeccable, and within moments the American crowd began to sense that they were witnessing something special. Inoue's attacks were methodical but punishing, mixing jabs and power shots that cracked against Nieves's guard. By the second round, the American audience, who had entered with doubts, was cheering for the Japanese visitor. They admired his sharp technique, his willingness to exchange, and the way he controlled the pace with unshakable confidence. Nieves tried to fight back, throwing heavy rights and body shots to gain respect, but each attempt was answered with something harder, faster, and cleaner from Inoue. The third round marked the beginning of the end for Nieves. Inoue went into full gear, hammering his opponent with combinations to the head and body, showing little concern for what came back. A thunderous uppercut landed cleanly, reminiscent of the destructive punches that had once made Golovkin famous. Nieves's corner and fans began to sense the inevitable as their fighter was being dismantled piece by piece. The crowd's respect shifted entirely to Inoue, who was now delivering a clinic in controlled violence. By the fifth round, a perfectly placed left hook to the body sent Nieves crashing to the canvas, gasping for air. Though he rose bravely, his will was broken, and Inoue continued to batter him with merciless body shots. By the sixth, Nieves's corner had seen enough, mercifully stopping the fight. The lesson was clear: disrespecting the monster came at a heavy cost. Eager for greater challenges, Inoue moved up to bantamweight to face Britain's Jamie McDonnell. The Englishman made the mistake of ridiculing Inoue's Japanese name, claiming it was too difficult to pronounce and reducing him dismissively to Inoue. He thought the taller, longer frame he carried would allow him to keep Inoue at bay with a steady jab, but arrogance clouded his judgment. From the opening bell, McDonnell attempted to box at range, using his height advantage. Yet it quickly became clear that his reach would not protect him. Inoue slipped under the jab with ease, pounding the body and head with ferocious precision. Within a minute, McDonnell's legs betrayed him as a heavy left hook connected. His pride and mockery vanished instantly, replaced by survival instincts. Inoue smelled blood and unleashed a barrage that sent McDonnell collapsing against the ropes. By the end of the very first round, the British fighter was stopped, left to reflect on the reality that mocking an opponent's culture or name is no substitute for preparation. The next major test came in the form of Puerto Rican fighter Emmanuel Rodriguez, a man with an undefeated record and a chin that had never been cracked. Rodriguez entered the build-up brimming with confidence, his team adding fuel to the fire by shoving Inoue's father and trainer, Shingo Inoue, during the pre-fight workouts. The blatant disrespect lit a quiet fire within Noaya. At the face-off, the monster's calm eyes revealed a man ready to deliver vengeance in the ring. Rodriguez opened aggressively, pushing forward and landing jabs with the intent to show he was not intimidated. For a moment, it seemed like this fight would be different, with Rodriguez trying to press the Japanese star. But Inoue, ever the tactician, simply observed and studied his opponent before releasing his fury, and the second round, Inoue landed a perfect left hook that shattered Rodriguez's composure. For the first time in his career, the proud Puerto Rican hit the canvas. Stunned but determined, he got back up only to be greeted by more brutal punishment. Inoue then targeted the body with a shot so devastating it left Rodriguez wincing as if his insides had been rearranged. Within minutes, the fight was over, and Rodriguez's aura of invincibility had been annihilated. Inoue had unified titles while delivering one of the most decisive and violent victories of his career. Not all of Inoue's rivals were disrespectful, but some carried an air of confidence that bordered on arrogance. One such opponent was the legendary Nonito Donaire, a future Hall of Famer and one of the most respected veterans of the sport. Their first encounter became one of the greatest fights of the modern era, with Inoue breaking his nose and orbital bone but fighting through immense pain to secure victory. The respect between the two men was mutual, yet the brutality they inflicted on each other left scars. When they rematched 3 years later, Inoue showed no hesitation, dismantling Donaire in a clinical display. The monster had learned from their war, and in the second fight he left no doubt who was superior. In 2023, Inoue faced what many believed would be his most dangerous challenge, the undefeated American champion Stephen Fulton. Known for his slick skills, speed, and ability to throw punches from every angle, Fulton confidently dismissed Inoue in the build-up. He suggested that Inoue's power was overrated and insisted that intelligence and craft, not brute force, were the keys to victory. Fulton even tried to intimidate Inoue at face-offs, staring deeply into his eyes as security separated them. But when the fight began, all the bravado melted away. Inoue's speed matched Fulton's, his timing exceeded it, and his punches carried far more weight. Round after round, Inoue picked Fulton apart, punishing him with surgical precision until the American wilted. By the end, Inoue had added yet another belt to his collection, proving that he was not only a puncher but a complete boxer capable of dismantling even the slickest of opponents. The Tokyo Dome in 2024 hosted one of Inoue's most dramatic encounters. His opponent was Luis Neri, a Mexican fighter despised by Japanese fans after testing positive for banned substances and missing weight in previous fights against Shinsuke Yamanaka. Neri entered brimming with confidence, but he was booed relentlessly by the crowd. The tension was palpable as the fighters touched gloves. Then came the shocking moment. In the very first round, Inoue was floored by a massive left hook, the first knockdown of his career. The arena fell silent in panic, fearing their hero might be toppled. But Inoue rose with steely composure, surviving the remainder of the round. When the second began, he responded with his own knockdown, instantly restoring hope. By the third round, Inoue was unleashed, punishing Neri with vicious combinations until a right hand and uppercut combination ended the fight in dramatic fashion. The monster had risen from the canvas only to prove once again that nothing could keep him down for long. Most recently, in January 2025, Inoue faced Korean challenger Yoon Jun Kim, who stepped in to replace the originally scheduled Sam Goodman. Kim boldly accepted the challenge, declaring he had nothing to lose. From the start, he beckoned Inoue forward, daring him to engage. It was a brave strategy, but also suicidal. Inoue hammered him with straight rights to the body and jabs upstairs, mixing speed with crushing accuracy. Kim tried to show toughness by taunting Inoue, but this only made the Japanese champion more merciless. A searing jab followed by a perfect straight right hand nearly launched Kim into the first row. The referee stopped the fight as Kim crumpled, and Inoue stood tall once again, undefeated and untouchable. Through every fight, Naoya Inoue has remained humble and respectful, never resorting to trash talk or disrespect. He lets his fists do the speaking, answering arrogance with punishment and disrespect with decisive victories. His journey has been one of steady dominance, building a perfect record while cementing his reputation as perhaps the fastest, most destructive, and most technically complete boxer of his time. Time after time, opponents who underestimated him learned the hard way that to provoke the monster is to sign one's own death warrant in the ring. Unlike the arrogant men who faced him, Inoue carries himself with quiet dignity, embodying the warrior spirit of Japan while capturing the admiration of fans worldwide. He is living proof that respect, discipline, and focus, when combined with devastating skill, can conquer any obstacle. As his career continues, one truth has been etched in stone: those who disrespect Naoya Inoue pay the price, and those who face him without humility rarely leave the ring unscathed.